Question of the day. Question number one. You're a person that has baggage, emotional baggage. And question number two is, have you tried not carrying around all your emotional baggage? Because that shit gets heavy. In this video, you're gonna learn a secret to putting down the emotional baggage that you're carrying around. Life is already heavy. I'm gonna carry more around. And you know, I'm a person that I used to love carrying around that baggage. I'm gonna try not to get hit by a car here. And I had a good amount. And, you know, it's no different reason than most people. This person did me dirty. One of my doctors called the Department of Health and tell them that he always wanted to wear a mask and that I made him not wear a mask. And this guy was like a cage fighting, powerlifting, humongous man. Little old me made him not do something. I held on to that jerk. I'm already getting investigated by like every government entity. Tries to save his own skin. But the problem is, when he called the Department of Health and left him a voicemail, he said to them, I don't have a negative health consequence. I just didn't wear a mask, which was illegal during the pandemic. That's the thing that people got a little mixed up on, because when they said everyone has to wear a mask or take a vaccine, you didn't have a choice unless you would have a negative health consequence. If you had a negative health consequence, you had every choice in the world. And by the way, who has a negative health consequence for regurgitating 75% of our toxins that we excrete through our voice, through our breath, and injecting chemicals into their body? Oh, how many people? It's kind of like asking who has a negative health consequence from putting a drop of paint on your tongue. Yeah, it's poison. So everyone would. So now I was in this situation. I was given this baggage. And I then had to call and defend this doctor who just threw me metaphorically under the bus. Because I then had to tell them, because this doctor just broke the law, right? It was against the law to say, I don't want to do this, so I'm not going to. That was illegal. But say I'm not going to do this because it has a negative impact on my health, that's fully legal. And it's your right as an American citizen. And I don't know about every other country, but we still have a constitution. So then I had to call the Department of Health and defend this guy. I'm like, hey, listen, he is on a stressed situation. He is imbalanced neurologically, and that's why he said those things. And I had to defend him, the person that threw me under the bus. And unique situation, because one of the things that people get really hung up on is perception, right? But I'm not going to respect perception, because it's our nervous system's ability to take in information from our environment, use the emotional response, and then form an opinion. I can appreciate perception, but I can also appreciate reality. So, for example, if you go to the dentist and they do an x-ray and they're like, you got a cavity right here. There's a hole in your tooth on x-ray here. Look at, I'm gonna stick this little metal thing into it. Hurts, right? And then you go, ow, gosh, that hurts. You now have been diagnosed with a cavity. Bad news bears. If you leave that dentist and someone said, hey, do you got any cavities? And you go, no, I don't got cavities. The question remains, do you have cavities? Yes, you do. Because reality doesn't change based on perception. This thing you have, you have. Now, what you do with that knowledge, that is where personal values and perception really can pay dividends. Because your personal values and perception could be, I don't believe in filling cavities with metal as a solution. You could be, I believe that my body has the ability to heal itself. And now what you do with that diagnosis is up to you. And so this doctor threw me under the bus, one of my baggage things. I then had to explain this to the Department of Health. Like, he doesn't get the choice to say, I don't have this diagnosis that would be negative impacted by wearing a facial covering. Because one of the symptoms of the diagnosis of vertebral subluxation complex is impaired neurological function in the prefrontal cortex, meaning rational thought, the ability to heal, and the ability to rev one's body down. So, for example, the government threatens to take away your license, put you in jail, fine you, and you still have to pay back your student loan debt. You know, that's gonna cause a stress response. And so I have this baggage. And then now that's just one story of the many fun interactions that I had in Washington State. And what these fun interactions left me with was chronically high blood pressure, like 140 to 160 over 120. I mean, so high that I could feel my eyeballs itching as the blood vessels ruptured and I slowly lost my vision. And if you look at me, hey Don, you would say, oh, Devin, perfect health, great health. And in all intents and purposes, I was, except that I was slowly dying inside. And a raging level of anxiety. So, and I've studied anxiety quite a bit over the last 4 or 5 years, especially when moving to the Dominican Republic. And what anxiety is, I'll sum it up for you. It's your body telling you that you're dying. That's why you feel like you are. So, there's a couple options that you can do at this point. And by the way, if I leave this state and I go to the Dominican Republic, does my blood pressure normalize? Yeah, absolutely. It was normal within 1 week. I'm back to good there. But being in this state, coming back to visit family, which, do they appreciate that I come back to visit them and slowly die while I'm in the state? No. So if you're in a situation where you're like, I'm slowly dying and I'm doing this for the people around me, they don't appreciate it. They don't care and they don't know. So then it's not a good long-term solution. So what do you do with this situation? Well, I'm happy to report, since 4 days ago, for the first time in 4 years, 5 years, my blood pressure is now at a normal level in the state of Washington. And what I learned is how to do a total nervous system reset to drop the baggage. Okay? And there's a couple ways to do this. Number one, I learned from a good friend of mine, Kevin Krieg, who, when I first met him in 2015, he had experienced the ability to totally reset his nervous system. And how he did that was, he was in Nevada and he was standing on this metal bridge, and then the storm came through, and so he's like, we gotta get off this bridge. Storm plus metal bridge, not good. Gets down off the bridge, gets his wife off the bridge. Storm goes through. And then based on his information that he could collect from his perception, the storm is now gone. So he went back up on the bridge in order to take pictures because he's a photographer. And then he experienced what I call the hard reset as lightning from no clouds in the sky accumulated because of this humidity in the air, and he got struck by lightning. Him and 3 people. So given the fact that he was with him and 2 other people, given the fact that he was with 2 other people, the lightning split, and that was the only reason that the doctor said that he did not die. So, but what happened though, as he said, is that basically his memory of 2 decades of all the baggage that he had before this event, gone. He said, it's gone. He's like, I have no hard feelings for anyone or anything that happened during those developmental years. So the question is, you think back to your 20s, your 30s, how much baggage you holding on to that from that chapter? So solution number 1, which I've tried to replicate, which is high doses of electricity through the body in order to let go of that baggage, is there for you. And I haven't figured out how to completely replicate it. But there was one time where I was running, it was a couple years ago, remember like the windstorm in Washington State where 100,000 people lost their power. So I went for a nice, 20-mile run, pitch black, all the lights are out, all the houses are dark. I'm running in the dark, and I'm going down through Savannah. I'm cutting through Savannah fields, and it's so dark. It's cloudy and it's raining, and I kind of passed this sign that's on the side of the road, and I can't really see what it says. I'm like, it's probably not important though. And I keep running, standing waters on the ground everywhere, and then up ahead of me is this little glowing orb of light. And if you've ever seen the movie Finding Nemo, it beckoned me like that. Like, what is this? Little ball of hope, of joy. And I start running towards this thing, and I'm checking it out. What is this? It's just like calling me, soothing. And I pull my phone out, and I go to turn my flashlight on so I can see what this light is. And I knew instantly what it was as soon as I brought my fingers together to touch my phone, because I created a loop within my body, and then I experienced the arc of electricity from the down power line as it powered through my body, contracted every one of my muscles down into a crunch position as I turned without even thinking, body just did this automatically. Ran away from it. And fun fact, if this ever happens to you, you don't actually want to run away from the power. You want to shuffle your feet, because when you do, when you run, it sends bolts through your body. And so I remember as I ran away, just and I get away from it, had this hit of adrenaline. I'm like, whoa, yeah, yes. And that lasted like 7 seconds, if that. And then I had to run back 7 miles uphill to my house while it rained and turned into snow. And I got to experience the most unique feeling of every sensation possible, meaning pain, cold, ache, burn, numb, heavy, tight, shocking, same time, every step. And then 7 miles is a good hour running back uphill.